creating a website pop-up using Convert Pro to collect email addresses. Go straight to Convert Pro in the back end. To create a new pop-up, we go to Convert Pro, create new, and because we want a pop-up on this button click, we are looking for a modal pop-up here. There are different options. Full screen pop-up is not quite what we want because this is the idea of the pop-up that we want, so it's not a full screen, it's a small section. So, modal pop-up, we select that. Okay, now there are some options here, some templates that are already built. This is a pretty nice one here with 15% off. But in the end, it's sometimes a little bit quicker to create your own. So we'll just start with a blank template and we'll call it homepage pop-up. Okay, so click this button here down in the bottom left to change the dimensions. So if we want something like that, we need something that's long and not quite tall, but not so wide. So what we want is about 300 by 700. That should do. No, that's a bit too much. Let's go 400 by 600. Might even go 500 wide. Okay, we can change this later, so there's no big deal. So there we go, it's roughly the same dimensions. So the first bit is an image. We don't have to do this. Let's just pop an image in here so we see how it works. Pop an image, yeah, drag it across there. That was a little bit delayed. So here's the image. This is just a placeholder, so to change the image, we click on change image here. Expand out here. No, that's fine. So we can change the size here on the left under select size, or we can literally just rescale it. The beauty of Convert Pro is it's not constrained to any particular look or feel. Many pop-up creators give you sections, and Convert Pro does away with that. You can literally put anything anywhere you like, so it's kind of free flow. Now if I run that past the top, it's not a problem, you won't see it. So it's a little bit harder to conceptualize what it will look like, but the image is above the top of the pop-up, but it won't show. Let's go back here. We need a heading done for the images, and click on heading and bring the heading here, and the text is get unstuck. Okay, so that's just disappeared because we haven't resized it. So you can resize again. Like everything in Convert Pro is free flow, it's free form, so you can make it look exactly as you want. So yeah, we want to change that color now. So the yellow of the website is this, and that doesn't look amazing because it's yellow on white, which really doesn't work. So what we need to do is change the background color here. So click this little cogwheel at the bottom again, go to background color, so it's a little bit easier on the eye. That might work, but this is probably going to be a little bit better. So get unstuck, just make sure that's centered. And you'll see this line appear to show you that it's centered. Cool, what's next? Free 3-part minis course laying foundations. Okay, now we need a paragraph. We can use another heading as well, but the paragraph's probably going to be easier. Click the color over here and make it white so it's easier to read and edit. So we can edit directly in here. 3 part course laying the foundations. Let's just move it into the center. Font size, there should really be a slider for this, and it's probably coming in a later version of Convert Pro, but at the moment you've just got to edit it like this. Pick the size that works for you. I think 20 goes right out to the edges there, so that's pretty good. Let's just make these singles. The next bit is just the email, first name, last name, and then yes, get me started on. Click on form on the left here. Click on form fields. We've got email address was the first option, so pop that in there. And just make sure you get your sizes. I might need to move that up and move everything up. I'll just do it now so I don't have to do it later. And keep everything more or less spaced evenly. That's the email. Name. So let's say first name as a placeholder. Another name. Let's say last name. So as you can see, I didn't quite get the spacing right. I could just make the pop-up longer. I'll just do it this way. Have the button. So the button is just yes, get me started. Okay, so you can pick anyone. Generally speaking, square buttons are not as inviting to click on as rounded buttons because rounded edges sort of invite people to click, but this is a form, so it's not so important here. In this case, we can just go for a square. Now, of course, we want to change the color background of this, so just under text, you've got colors, background color. Not sure about that, but that's because it's white text on yellow. So we change the text to black, make that a little bit bigger, see what that looks like. Okay, so we want to make this probably just as wide as the others. Watch out for the guidelines there, they'll show you when you get to the end. So let's change this to yes. Get me started. That might need to be reduced in size a little bit. Let's say you go to 18, maybe more. Yeah, 70. And that's it. The person who's interested in the course clicks yes, get me started. And then what happens? We need to connect this to an email system. I recommend MailerLite. It's free up to a certain limit and it's much cheaper than the alternatives. The configure button, configure tab lets you select when and where the pop-up appears. So with Convert Pro, there's a huge amount of options here. So you could have it appear after a few seconds on the page, or when somebody goes to leave, or after a certain scroll. They haven't clicked on anything or moved in a while. These are all great, but what we want is when somebody clicks a button, just for this particular one. So we need the on click. Once you open that and click yes beside display when a user clicks a link, we need to specify the link code. The button on your landing page or the front page or wherever you have the button that launches the pop-up, you need to tell Convert Pro which button that is, and we do that through CSS class and ID. In this case, we'll just use an ID of class for pop-up, or we could even just call it pop-up, make it simple. Once we've done that, we save it. Next, connect. So if you've just started to use Convert Pro, you won't have anything in this box because you need to actually connect up the third-party services. So you need to open up the connect option, which I'm doing in a separate window here. Okay, and connects allows you to integrate Convert Pro with your favorite email marketing service. Everything is in this connects add-ons section is disabled by default. Okay, there's some great tools in here like A/B tests and advanced scripts, but what we want at the moment is just the connects. So we activate that. It's activated. Save this again, refresh it. Okay, now we have the options for which service we want to connect to, and you've got most of the big ones here. You can even connect to Zapier, but what we want is MailerLite. Now you need to go to your MailerLite, find the API key, and this is the Planning Powerhouse website, so we'll just call it Planning Powerhouse. Once you've opened your MailerLite dashboard, just head across to the profile area and click on integrations. From here, the first thing you see is the developer API, so we click use. The API key is here, click copy, go back to your MailerLite integration, paste in the API key, click authenticate. Then it will ask you for the list. I'll just select one here. Now the MailerLite fields, this is something you might come across the very first time. First name in the Convert Pro maps to a value in MailerLite. So we already have a name. Last name goes to last name. Don't worry about email because that's automatically mapped to email. If your form has something else like phone number, you'll need to map that to phone number. Click save. It should be integrated now. Just going to save that again. Then we need to go back to configuring the on-click. The main page, this is created with Elementor. Then you should have access to what we call the button ID down the bottom here. So when you select a button in Elementor, you've got a button ID. In WordPress, you should have a CSS class or an ID for the button as well. So it's going to be different for every platform, but the pop-up code is pop-up. Clean enough. Okay, so you can call this anything you like. Call it pop-up. The button ID is pop-up. Right. Update that one, so I'm going to make this public. So it's now published. If I preview the changes here, from here we put in a name, first name, last name, email address. The next steps are to create a thank you page, a page that once people sign up for your course or get on your mailing list, or to redirect it to a thank you page. That can be on MailerLite. It can also be on your own website. You could create another landing page with Elementor. There's various different things to do, and then from there you can create sequences in MailerLite to email people to thank you for signing up, and then whatever drip sequence you've got for your business.